Dan Snow, thank you so much for your time today. This is not your first time at Chalke Valley, but how is it to be back here once again?
It's not my first time at Chalke Valley. I come back every year because it's the best history festival in the country. It's fantastic, and the weather so far. I've always been in the sun. It's just great. It's amazing to come here. They've got the best speakers. They've got very serious history being done, but it's also got a great sense of fun. You can go and drink some mead, you can go and hang out with the mad reenactors, and it's just a great atmosphere. It's really fun.
I can hear some gunshots in the background, actually.
There's some incoming fire.
And you've just been speaking for the first day for the Schools Festival, talking about the importance of history. What is history's biggest selling points?
Yikes, what is history's biggest selling points? Well, I was trying to tell those young people that history is the best subject to study because, quite simply, first of all, it's everything. It's everything that's ever happened. So it's worth studying, worth knowing something about what's going on, whether that's in your own personal life, your own childhood, your own upbringing, or that of your family, your town, your city, your country, the whole human race. So it's worth understanding all that. It provides enormous entertainment, it's funny, it's brilliant, it's extraordinary moments in our past, it provides moments of extraordinary emotion, tragedy. Yeah. So it's an emotional experience. You're never bored if you love history. I haven't been bored 15 years. I've never been bored. I sit on trains, I sit in traffic jams, I think about the past, I think about things that have happened to our species. Extraordinary things.
So it's very therapeutic?
I find it therapeutic. I find it's to think of all the things that have gone before, and from the euphorically exciting and happy to the titanically awful.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful pastime from that point of view. It's really important. You've got to know about this stuff. If you want to understand Iraq, if you understand the current referendum between England with Scotland voting to go independent, it's all steeped in our history and our past.
Absolutely.
If you want to understand Northern Ireland, if you understand all of these things, Russia and Ukraine, you've got to know about what happened before. And also, lastly, I was trying to explain to the young people that it's something that can inspire you because you can take examples from the past and think, if they've achieved that, what can I achieve? If they've, whether it's votes for women, whether it's ending apartheid, whether it's winning the Second World War, whatever it is, winning the World Cup, there are things that people have done in the past that are incredibly inspirational.
Well, you wrote something for The Spectator, didn't you, the other day about World Cup and parallels between. What parallels can we draw between the World Cup?
I think what I was saying for The Spectator is we are better together. Well, I was saying that what's interesting is England football team by itself, not very good.
No.
Bring in our Scots, our Irish, our Welsh people, in particular Welsh at the moment, of course.
Yep.
Young Gareth sitting on a beach somewhere sunning himself when he should be spearheading our attack.
So you're endorsing a GB team for the next World
Olympics
Cup.
2012, Team GB nailed it. Individually, our sporting teams, not that good. It's clear, for me, it's a clear metaphor, better together. Boom.
Yeah. Obviously, this year, it's a big anniversary year. With 70 years of D-Day. I know you've been involved in that heavily. How was it a couple of weeks ago visiting the landings?
The anniversaries of the Second War in particular are some of the most amazing things I do because I get to meet the old guys that are still around. They're no less interesting than many other people who have been through. For example, I met people from the Rwandan genocide, from the war in Congo, but it just happens that the anniversaries in the UK, I get to meet a lot of the Second World War veterans, and they are totally incredible. I met guys who slept in X-craft on the little mini submarines under the sea. They'd come up at night, they'd swim into shore, they'd take soil samples from the invasion beaches, swim out at dawn, sleep again on the bottom, come up, do that 3 nights in a row, almost starving themselves of oxygen each night. I met a Spitfire pilot who flew the length of the beaches on the 6th of June 1944 on D-Day, twice, once at dawn, once at dusk. The things he saw, I will probably live, if I lived 100 lifetimes, I'd never see that scale of that intensity.
So you're not surprised how Britain have been just captured by D-Day and
people spend the whole time saying to me, "Oh, isn't that amazing? That programme yesterday did quite well. Lots of people watched." I go, I'm not surprised, you idiot, because I think everyone loves history. Sometimes it's latent within themselves, but it's fascinating stuff. You can't not be interested by a 19-year-old who's never seen a bullet fired in anger, landing on a beach, getting shot through the leg, landing on the beach all day, watching the whole of D-Day happen, and an American picks him up, chucks him back in a boat, he's almost dead through blood loss.
Amazing.
That's not history, that's not books and dusty libraries, that's something that everybody would go, yeah, that's quite interesting. Of course it is interesting. So, it never surprises me that people engage with these programmes and with our past, when the events you're describing are some of the largest, most catastrophic but also most inspirational events in the whole that have ever happened.
And moving from Second World War to the First World War, I think on Friday night you're talking about myths of the First World War.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
So what are some of the
Yes.
most common misconceptions?
I like the myth. I mean, a couple of myths. One of the myth is that the British Army was a bit crap and that the generals were all appalling old donkeys. That's a good one we get our teeth into.
Yeah.
That's that's one. It's one of the few really big historical arguments that every single person on the street has got an opinion on, and that's something to be said for that. It's really exciting.
And your final appearance is in the Histrionics panel show,
Yes.
which I mean, are you a fan of panel show? Do you think there's a market for a history panel show?
Yeah, of course I do, because I love history and I love appearing on panel shows. No, I think that.
Team captain.
Yeah. No, I think that for me, history's always been about fun and sociability and going to the pub and having a laugh and making jokes and being silly with your mates, and Twitter helps you do that. You know, you're always doing tweet jokes and metaphors and inappropriate parallels. And so I really like the idea of just treating it with a quite light-hearted way, and I think it's quite right that we do that. And so it was good fun last year. Killer, of course, you get caught out for not knowing anything about history.
Absolutely.
You don't know the questions.
But you touched on Twitter there, and I'll finish on this, but in The Observer yesterday, you were talking about the importance of technology. How has technology transformed history?
Well, history, of course, one of the big things is digitisation of archives and source. I mean, it's just so exciting, isn't it? You just can sit there and, in the comfort of your own home, get access to primary sources that you never dreamed you'd be able to see or able to visit for yourself, and that's an amazing thing. And then just the communication. I mean, I've made contacts with other historians and with far more eminent people than me through Twitter, and it's, you know, rather than writing them a letter and have them think you're some weirdo, you just sort of get in touch with them, and we have a sort of weird, exciting community.
I've seen some good Twitter conversations with you and Tom Holland, you and James Holland.
I spend too much time with the Holland brothers online, that's fair to say.
Well, I hope there are many more to come in the future, and Dan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. See you next year.
Yeah.